To make my sculpted soft soldered pendant, I assemble my tools and materials before beginning. I use wire straightening pliers to straighten my wire, then snip off some small pieces of varying lengths. I remove any pointy ends of wire with my wire cutting pliers. I create bends and curls in the ends of each piece of wire. I create the curls in different directions and with no particular plan in mind. I use my round nose pliers, also known as rosary pliers, to do this. I turn some of the curved ends toward each other and others away from each other. I repeat this process with each piece of wire until I have a variety of different shaped curls and swirls. I hammer the wire to both flatten it out and to strengthen it. I'm careful not to over-hammer my pieces of wire because that could make them brittle. Hammering the wire will cause the curled ends to open up and separate a bit. I can either leave them this way, or I can use pliers to tighten them up if I like. I hammer both ends of a piece, then I flip it over and do the same thing on the other side, and I do this with each piece. I really like the way that hammering transforms the shape of the wire. It gives it character. I play around with my wire pieces, experimenting with different designs. I start with just 2 or 3 pieces, putting them together, flipping them over, turning them over, until I find shapes and designs that I'm happy with. Because I made a variety of pieces in different sizes and different shapes, I have tons of options. Probably hundreds. I look for a visual balance that I'm happy with. This doesn't mean that it has to be the same on both sides. It can be asymmetrical, but it just has to look right to me. I created an extra circle of wire to add later on as a bail. I bathe my wire pieces in flux to remove oxidation on the wire so that the solder will stick to the wire. I solder my pieces one at a time with lead-free jewelry solder. I make sure to cover all areas, both sides, and all edges with solder. I use pliers to hold the hot metal pieces while I solder them. I use a disposable brush to reapply flux as needed because soldering will make the flux evaporate. Because the pieces that I'm working with are hot and because they have flux on them, I use a pair of old pliers to hold them while I work with them. I only use these pliers for when I'm soldering. Whenever I'm soldering or working with chemicals, I always wear safety glasses, a mask, and I work in a well-ventilated area. Safety first. I repeat this process over and over with each piece of curled wire until they are all covered with solder. I use lead-free solder that is a mixture of silver and tin. Once all of my pieces are soldered, I again play around with them and form a design. I spend a lot of time on this step. I want it to look just right. When I was playing with it earlier before I soldered, if I was happy with the design I had, I can take a photo of it and use it for a reference later. But here I just try a different design. I gently solder the first few pieces together. I put just a very small amount of solder at the joints where the pieces touch each other. I think this piece looks great just as it is right now, but of course I'm going to add to it and make it a lot bigger. I continue to add pieces one or two at a time, fluxing and then soldering the joints. My project is growing. Once I'm happy with my design and I feel like it's finished, I will then attach a loop to serve as a bail. When I'm finished, I will wash and dry the piece. I have created a sculpted pendant with soft solder. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you liked this project. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and don't forget to hit the little bell next to the subscribe button so you get notified whenever I release a new video. And I do that every Friday and sometimes in between. Thanks again and see you next time.